Kat here, and today we are playing a new game. I was looking through Steam and I found this game, and it's called Her Lied I Tried to Believe. Now, I'm gonna let you know if you get very disturbed by some stuff, this is like Doki Doki in a way because it does have that messed up stuff as of what I read before it opened. So I'm really excited to try this out. Let me just open up my channel real quick on YouTube because of course I want to be able to see your all's comments and everything about this game. It is free on Steam, and of course you all could go check it out. Of course I'll leave the link down, or try to put it down below. I mean, you could just look it up and it's right there. It's totally free, which is awesome. I've heard good things about it, and hi Wolfie. So we are going to be playing this game. I'm really excited, so might as well get into it while we're here, don't we? So let me just move some stuff over so I'm able to see what you all tell me and all this stuff. Oh my goodness, everything is not what I want it to be. Give me a second, guys. There we go. It's being a little odd with me. So, I think I got it. Okay. Cool. I think I got it because it's going a little whack right now with my computer. So I guess we should start this. Her lie I tried to believe. I wonder why I didn't notice at the time the meaning behind all of this and ignore that of the text at the bottom. Now that I understand it, I can declare with certainty that my life wouldn't be completely different if I had seen through it sooner. Was I too insecure, or maybe I simply wish I didn't really understand? No matter. Maybe you will see the truth where I couldn't. Ooh. But yeah, if you get sensitive to this stuff, be very, very careful. That's what they warned me in the beginning. Just be very careful. It all started in elementary school. Not middle school, nor high school, but elementary school. Just to tell how long she's been tormenting me. Yes, a girl. It is always about a girl, isn't it? Couldn't have been a rivalry between boys. No, it needed to be a girl. Of course, it always has to be a girl, guys. Okay, there's some language in here. I'm sorry. I didn't know. There's no predetermined time to mark when exactly this happened. It just kind of turned out this way, I guess. The moment I laid my eyes on her, I knew I would. Hate her? Oh. Hi. She looks so cute, though. She was tall. Well, not tall, but still taller than me back then. You know how it goes. Her hair was not very long, boyish, would probably be a good way to define it. But again, this wasn't such a surprise during that time. Her strength must have been similar to mine even. Her features resembled most of the girls. She wasn't special, that's for sure. She had brownish eyes, black hair, a cute little girl, and it stopped at that. Just that. Yet there was one thing, only one simple thing that separated her from the rest of the pure girls. Her eyes. Ooh. Okay. Her eyes. Definitely her. Yeah, this is gonna be very fun and spooky, that's for sure. There was something, and I'm not talking about the twinkles or anything of that sort. I'm talking about something darker. Something that doesn't belong to a kid. But she hid it. And at least tried to. And it worked with most people, but not with me. I wonder if she saw the same thing in my eyes. Maybe that's why I felt so much competent for her. Maybe that's why she answered that competent with some unknown feeling of her own. I don't know how it happened. Did she provoke me first, or was I the one pushing the conception as the sole intent of our relationship? The fact that we were rivals. I think it started because she was beating me at running. She was beating me at pretty much everything, really. But I think running was something more precisive, and that's why I felt it weighing so much more on my mind to be beaten by a girl. Is it like every guy who is psyched out, he's like, I can't lose to a girl, then it makes me look weak? I've heard that so much when I was a kid, and even now I hear that, so it's like, really? Come on. And it wasn't that she had a talent for running or something. It was simply that I was mediocre, okay, and it would have probably been alright with me if it weren't for that smile. That smile, always teasing me so brightly though. And it wasn't that compelling either. I mean, more often than not, she would be missing some teeth due to growth. But again, I don't fully remember why she started doing this. But every time she finished before me in a race during PE, she would always look at me with that smile and say, "Better luck next time, Tim." For me, it was the greatest insult for a boy who tries to distinguish himself from the others in an environment such as elementary school to be beaten and laughed by a girl. There's no way I would have taken it personally, so I made it kind of my life mission to beat her at every opportunity I get. But sadly for me, I was just an average guy, and while she was too an average girl, she was still slightly better than I was. I think for her, it was a simple game, something to put a smile on my face, or to feel proud about, seeing me fail and looking so irritated by the fact she might have thought it was also amusing myself somehow. Oh, we done talking about her now? Okay. She was creepy, the girl. It was only when winter came that she understood the depth of my feelings. Oh. Now it's snowing, guys. Eey. It's gonna get creepy. I already sense it. We were playing King of the Hill on a mountain, snow mountain, with a couple of kids. I said we, and we weren't friends or even really acquainted with one another. We knew each other's names, but that was that. Maybe it made me even more of an impact because of this. Because no one was really playing aggressively. We were just kind of pushing each other out from the top of the mountain to claim it on our own. Yeah, that happens when you play. Sometimes it can be rough. It depends on who you play with. But when I saw her, that girl, climb to the top of the mountain and try to take even this fleeting achievement from me, I just kind of snapped. I remember thinking, this is mine. You won't take it away from me. And she didn't. She didn't, because I grabbed her with all my strength and threw her to the bottom of the mountain directly on a hard ground. It must have hurt. I must have hurt really bad. But my thoughts weren't there. I was completely heroic with the idea that I protected what was mine. That was finally beating her at something. I guess our strengths were really no match after all. Man, that's me. You just throw the girl. I mean, geez, I'd be like, "Ed, my spot. Get off my spot. That's mine." But geez, don't throw a girl, poor thing. The kids were all regrouping themselves around her for some reason. I finally understood that I did something that I shouldn't have not. Their glares on me told me so. Yet I didn't feel bad. I mean, this girl has been tormenting me way more than this. But they didn't know. How could they know? Finally, the girl, Cassandra. Oh, so we finally know the girl's name, Cassandra. And Tim got up painfully from the ground. She didn't cry. She didn't try to steal compassion from those around her. No. She simply looked at me. No. Those eyes. Looked at me with those eyes. That's when I knew she finally understood how I feel. That's when she knew she finally started hating me. Okay, don't hate me too much, okay? Thanks. I don't need those eyes on me. She became serious. That rivalry that I thought we had was nothing more than normality for her. So, by seriously trying to beat me at everything, she became one of the best students in our class. I could say some stupid monkeys, like I wanted her to become this way because she knew she was faking to be someone else. But that's clearly not the case. The only reason I ever had and wanted to crush her were simply juvenile and immature one at best. I don't think she was fake. Before by any stretch of the imagination. I just think she had that much potential. Sure, I also became better because of the fact that, but she also had the last word in the end. But her smile changed it too. There were no longer this faint warmish emanating from it. It was cold, like this thing that I thought I had once seen in her eyes. She finally looked at me the way I always looked at her. I guess I opened her eyes, and she then saw me from who I truly was. I didn't feel bad about it. At least I thought I didn't. If I had any emotion back then, it would probably numbled with this excruciating feeling of being humiliating. Also, she stopped saying her usual line when beating me. She continued saying something all right, but it was no longer that line. Instead, she just said something like, "Are you even trying?" Ooh, sassy. And she would say it as often as she could. It was no longer simply when we were running against each other, but also during our academic reports and even during luck-influenced games. My elementary school life ended with an extremely bitter aftertaste. I became the laughingstock of my class, and somehow helped Cassandra become even better than she already was. A complete defeat indeed, but there would be other chances for me to prove my worth. I knew there would. A chance to crush her, that is. Oh, there's so much text to this. I did not know this was going to be a lot of text. It's creepy, I will give it that. But the school brought some changes with it. Well, not right away, but in the second part of the first year for sure. I became taller, or maybe she became smaller. I don't know. Since she was the sole thing I ever set my eyes on, she became my reference when it comes to any kind of physical changes. I could hardly believe it, yet it was something anyone could have predicted, me becoming taller than her. For some unknown reason, she still ended up in the same class. We had somehow chosen the same options, disgustingly enough. Our hatred toward each other was still very real. So it was like we only packed things up from where we left them during elementary school. Oh, she's so cute now! Her hair was now longer. She started, little by little, take up shape, which made her body no longer be regarded to as one of a kid anymore. Even I could see how beautiful she was becoming, yet I was still repulsed by her. Likewise, I changed in a drastic fashion. I became a little taller, and I gained some mass along the way. Again, I was very much an average guy, but I still tried the best I could to keep my body in shape in order to eventually win against her. And that paid off. Or maybe it was just a direct result of those apparent changes. But in any case, I finally started to have the upper hand on her. At least during PE and other physical competitions, I was no longer chasing her. She was now chasing me. Can you at least show a bit of determination? That was my line. What a joke, really. Couldn't even think of anything clever to say, so I just stole her line and made it my own. And I wouldn't stop at that. I wanted my back to be as far in front of her as it probably would. I feel like everything's getting redder. It's creepy. So I decided to start playing basketball to build up stamina and keep my body in shape. In no time, I became somewhat popular, and I don't think I was any good really. My whole team was just that bad, that's all. This guy and his confidence, for real. And anyway, popularity didn't interest me. My eyes were still locked on her at this time. Sure, I played the card of the cool kid, faking to enjoy everyone's eyes on me, but it was just another way to get back at her. He likes her. Tim really likes Cassandra. It's very obvious. Because he won't stop thinking about her. He won't stop doing anything about her. We all know this. We definitely do. Cassandra, just her name, makes me shudder. She was popular in elementary school, but now she was kind of distant and solitary. Then look at me and acknowledgeable my existence. It was how I thought, but every time I locked her away, she never looked down at me. I came to realize that she had lost all interest in our rivalry. It was all natural. I mean, she no longer had any chance when it comes to physical performances. So I decided it was time to change gears. If I want to take everything away from her, I would need to build up not only my body but my mind too. That girl is ignoring me like that. I'll show you just how much you made me suffer. Man, this guy has a lot of, hate against this girl. I mean, come on, dude. It took me a long time to better my academic results, a long time indeed. It was all but natural to me, so in the end, I had no other choice but to drop the basketball team in order to focus on my studies. The 2 years of middle school ended, but she was still always one step in front of me. One day to the next, she would stop teasing me, or even look proud at what she's accomplished. The glimpse of darkness that I once saw in her eyes was now the only thing persisting to be seen throughout her features. High school finally came, but luck was not on my side this time around. We no longer had any class in common. Luck? Wonder why I looked at it this way. Probably because tormenting her gave me so much satisfaction. It didn't matter though. I could still compete with her in the midterm exams and the likes. All I needed to do was to keep my studying until I felt completely satisfied with my results. My popularity had already degraded, almost to the point of being called inexistent. Yet there were still girls that confessed to me from time to time. Every time I would turn them down. If I had time messing around with girls, I probably had time to study even longer than I already was. At least that's how I tried to keep myself focused. So you understand, I felt pretty stupid when I first saw her with a boy. Until then, she didn't seem to show any interest in the opposite sex. I wonder why it changed now out of all times. Sure, she was quite good looking. She was a lot more feminine than she was younger. No wonder she would be popular with the boys. But with how long I've been watching her, I couldn't think of it any other way than why now all of the times. I was mad. I was disappointed. I felt humiliated. So does that mean she doesn't need to study as much as I do to beat me? Is that what she's trying to say? This made me put even more effort into my studies. There's no way it's going to end up the way you want it to be this time. Man, this guy just keeps on going, talking, like saying, I'm gonna beat her, I'm gonna do this. But that was all the way in elementary. And she's not even trying anymore, to be honest. What I can see, she's not even trying anymore. That's pretty sad. This guy has a lot of anger and all this stuff in him. I was sure that I would crush her during our next midterms. So you can imagine my surprise when I actually did. My grades of the top 50 were displayed on the sheet of paper in the main hall of the class. Normally she would be in the top 5, while I would be in the top 10, but this time around, it was reversed. How could this be? I was angry. I should have been happy, but I wasn't. How could I be? This wasn't supposed to be this way. There was too large of a margin between the two of us. That was impossible. I remember that right then and there, I looked around me, really pissed off. That's when our eyes met. For the first time in at least a year and a half, our eyes met with each other. And while mine were extremely cold, hers were as passionate as ever, as if she never changed during all those years. She even smiled at me, disgustingly so. I walked in her direction, unable to keep my cool. Ooh, it's getting to regular text now. No more actually story. What's wrong with you? I blurted out as if there was intimacy in our relationship, when in reality, it was the first time I spoke to her since middle school. Ooh. Oh, excuse me? She said to me, trying to look clueless at the reason for my forceful approach. What a great actress she is. As if she doesn't know the reason for me to be all worked up. Is this because of your new boyfriend? Is this jealousy I hear? Ooh, she knows. She knows. She's doing this on purpose. Ooh, don't freak with me. I take a hold of her collar and aggressively and look at her directly in the eyes. I hear others around us talking as though I'm about to hit her or something. They seem almost scared of what I might do. Yet she doesn't look scared at all. She replicates my stare and waits for my words. What is it with that grade, eh? Are you not taking it seriously anymore? Now that you have a boyfriend, is that it? My grade? So you came to talk to me just because of my grade? Her eyes became stern. Woo! The inoffensive smile she once had on her face disappeared. Tell me, why is it? Why is she changing all of a sudden? This shouldn't happen. Why you ask? I don't know. It just ended up that way, that's all. Don't give me that monkeys. I know you. You know what? She pushed me upon hearing my words. I lost the hold I had on her as a direct result. You know nothing, Tim. Whatever. You better get your act together next time, or else what? A guy closed in on us and put his hand on my shoulder in a warning kind of fashion. Is this guy just troubling you, Cass? I shook his hand off of me and walked away without looking back. I'll show you next time who's the best between the both of us. You better prepare yourself. I think she said something back to me, but I didn't hear it. I was too extremely frustrated by her attitude to hear or see anything around me. People probably looked at me the wrong way, but it didn't matter to me. As if everything I've been doing has no value, as if I had ever the only one see ourselves as rivals. But this should be okay now. By confronting her like that, I gave her a little push. That's all she needs. Her pride will come out on top in the end. I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose her. I'll show her. Just you wait, Cassandra. How stupid I was. Not understanding that the person I thought I hated the most was also the one I needed the most. Is this what you call irony? I had studied for the past 3 years on a multitude of subjects, yet I was so extremely clueless on the most natural things surrounding my life. It was only at the next exam week that I finally realized the obvious flaw in my way of perceiving the world. I was so sure of myself. Oh, for that I was. There was nothing else occupying my mind during all those weeks of self-study and cram school. I'll beat her fair and square. Last time wasn't a fair fight. She had purposely neglected her studies for something as stupid as love. But now will be different. I guess it's probably because of my obsession with my studies that I had yet to notice something so important, something that I shouldn't have missed. In front of the piece of paper which numbered out the best students, I was searching frantically like a madman for something that was definitely supposed to be there. Not there, not there, not there, not there. What the monkeys? That's impossible. She must have changed her name or something. This can't be happening. But no matter how many times I look at it, I was focused to conclude the same thing over and over again. She wasn't there. Here. She was not in top 50. I thought maybe, ridiculously enough, she had skipped a year somehow, even though we're in middle of the semester. But she wasn't in the top of the third years either. How could that be? I went directly to the ones in charge of that list. They probably had made a mistake, unless as they were. That's where I heard something preposterous, something so ridiculous that no other chance but to snap back at them and insult the lots of them. They told me, and this is with the most serious tone there is, that she had quit school a month and a half ago. A month and a half ago. So while I was uselessly, obviously foolish, trying the best I could to surpass the girl that I thought was my equal, she was messing around probably with boys or whatever, and didn't think of me as even worth the effort. She probably thought she could already have everything alive since she was so good, and she left me here like a fool, lingering with this feeling inside of my throat that just doesn't want to disappear. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to believe it, but it was the truth nonetheless. I was just too blind to see it coming. That was all. Crap. That girl, she won even when I was sure of winning. This hopeless feeling I was so eager to give her was now struck within me, unable to get rid of it. She was no longer someone I could go head to head with since she had given up entirely. Asked for the reason for her departure, and they told me it was of a personal matter. Probably had something to do with her family or whatever, but I knew it wasn't. It was probably her way to get back at me, knowing that I was finally going to beat her. She just ended up quitting to make sure it never happened. But then I had a revelation. What if I decided to wait for her another year? Yeah, that would be a great idea. I just need to purposely fail, but then I realized I just topped number 2 in my last academic results, and I was pretty much sure of passing. And I am so sorry for a lot of the language. Some of it is not friendly, so I'm trying to go over saying other words instead. So this was over. I had lost the one thing that was keeping me going. For a time, I seriously wondered what I was going to do with my life, now that I've lost all interest. But eventually, it didn't matter. All that matters, since I had done this for a good part of my youth, I couldn't easily stop. So I just continued studying the best I could, with emptiness as my sole source of motivation. High school came to an end extremely quickly. The last day of school, I looked around me and saw a lot of students happily chatting together, probably feeling proud of themselves. Some had boyfriends and girlfriends at their sides, their arms around them, as though the world no longer had any secrets to them. I was the best of my class, one of the best of the whole class, and yet I knew nothing. I felt hollow. I was already going to the top university. I could see my future without anyone telling me, yet I had lost something by becoming who I am. I know this, but since I'm not one of them, I don't know what that is. Oh, there's chapters. I'm gonna save that. I think I'm gonna have to end it there since there is different chapters to this game. It looks really, really cool. It looks really creepy. There is a lot of text, which is okay with me. I wish there was a lot more visuals in it. I mean, yeah, you see a couple here and there, but it'd be really cool, like how Doki Doki is. I love all the visuals in there. But that was episode 1 of Her Lie I Tried to Believe. So I think that's pretty much it. I will do episode 2 on Thursday, and I think that's pretty much it. Other than that, I'll see you later. Bye! And of course, check out my videos over here. I'm going to have some videos over here later. And of course, down here, subscribe. So don't forget to like and subscribe and ding-a-ling that little button to be part of the cat family. So again, I will see y'all later. Bye! Cat out.